Okay, as an application, I have here 4 numbered cards and 4 face cards of different colors and suits. So what we're going to do is I'm going to mix these cards, since both of us just saw them, and I'm going to do this kind of triangle deal, which is kind of a fun way to mix cards. And we'll just stack them in the opposite order, which will help to randomize the cards well. Okay, so what I need you to do is kind of randomly choose one of these new shuffles for us to perform first. So which one would you like? Shuffle 30? Okay, so all of these are push-off pairs shuffles. Okay, so I'll do that. Very good. So shuffle 30 is as follows. Pile 1 goes on top of pile 3. Pile 2 goes on top of pile 4. And then the right pile gets stacked on top of the left. Okay, so that is shuffle 30. Which one would you like next? Shuffle 31? Okay, shuffle 31. So we push off the pairs as before, and the stacking will be a little different. So for shuffle 31, the stacking is the 4th pile goes on top of the 2nd, the 3rd one goes on top of the 1st, so you can think of this as a leapfrog stacking, and then the right pile goes on top of the left. Very good. Okay, so we have 29 and 32 left. Which one would you like? 32 next? Okay, so I'll push off pairs as before, and so shuffle 32, we're going to stack the 4th pile on top of the 2nd, 3rd on top of the 1st, and now we're going to stack the left pile on top of the right. Very good. Okay, and so to finish, we're going to perform shuffle 29. I believe it's the only one we haven't done yet. So we'll push off pairs as always. And then for shuffle 29, we see the following. We stack 1 on top of 3, 2 on top of 4, and then we stack the left pile on top of the right. Now it's very important for you to realize that not only could we perform any of these shuffles additional times and in any order, we can actually perform any of the 32 shuffles that we have shown you thus far in this series. And we can perform them in any quantity and in any order. And it will not undermine what we hope to accomplish here. That's the amazing thing. Okay, so what we're going to do here is we'll go ahead and perform this kind of fun triangle deal to just further scramble these cards so that no one could possibly know where anything is. And then I think I'll go ahead and I guess we could continue mixing if you would like, or if you're finished, we can stop now. Okay, so you're a bit tired? Stop now? Okay. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to set out 2 piles here. Let's see. Yeah, that's 4 and 4. And I'll give you the choice to choose either pile. You'd like this one right here? Okay, very good. And that leaves me with the ones right here. Very good. Oh, by the way, I have a prediction over here. I had almost forgotten that I set it there. So what does our prediction say about the ending of all of this? It says one player will have 1 black face card and 3 number cards. And the other player will have 1 black number card and 3 red face cards. I wonder if that's true. So let's take a look at what you got here. Okay, so you got a red face card. So in fact, I guess for this to be correct, you better be down here. Oh, you got 2 red face cards. Black number card. Okay, so we haven't blown up the universe yet. Oh, look at that. You got 3 red face cards and 1 black number card. Amazing. Well, I would imagine, kind of by an elimination process, my pile probably satisfies the other set of outcomes here. So apparently I'll have 3 number cards and 1 black face card. Is that true? 3 numbered cards, yep, and 1 black face card. How in the world were we able to finish in such a way that this prediction that was written ahead of time, before the randomization of the packet dictated by you, the spectator, how in the world were we able to perform such a perfect sequence of actions that would agree with a prediction that was written before we even started? Okay, so let's talk about how this was done, and many variations on this that you could actually use. Okay, so what I did at the beginning, and so you can rewind the video and see this. So what you do is you need to have these 3 piles, right? These 3 piles that will satisfy your prediction. So you need that first. So you need a little pile of 4 cards in which you have 1 black numbered card and 3 red face cards. And then you need a little pile of 4 cards in which you have, move this up, 3 red numbered cards and 1 black face card. Okay, so you need that. So you need like these 2 halves, these 2 piles of 4 cards. Now, within each pile, these can be randomized. It doesn't matter what order these are in. The same thing here. Now, what will be important is that you just stack them as sets of 4. So I can put this one on top of that one, or vice versa. That stacking doesn't matter, actually. Okay? So right now, if you think about it, the organizational structure that we kind of have in mind here is, I'm picturing, let's say, the cards on the top half of this packet of 8 cards as 4 ones. It's like 4 ones. And then the bottom 4 cards I'm picturing is labeled zeros, with zeros. Okay? So in your mind's eye, if you kind of want to think about that, so kind of picture the top 4, imagine labeling these all ones, and the bottom 4 are labeled with zeros. Okay, so these are all part of the same set, which in our mind's eye we're labeling as zeros, and the top 4 are all part of the same set, which in our mind's eye we're labeling as ones. Okay, so that's kind of where we're beginning. Now this structure type can be converted to a Bessey sequence using this triangle deal. Now this is a really clever little technique by Warner Miller, who's one of my subscribers, and he came up with this very clever way of going from this organizational structure to a Bessey sequence. Okay? So if you use this triangle deal, and you'll recognize now that I did it. I did this 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, and then you stack in the opposite order. So we dealt clockwise, and then you pick up the first pile again, but now stack in counterclockwise direction. Okay, so what this will do then is it will actually convert this to, quote, a Bessey sequence relative to the labeling up here. Okay, now it gets pretty difficult to kind of see that now that we have them scrambled a bit, but it's not too hard to recreate it because focus. Remember, special positions are 1, 4, 6, 7, and 2, 3, 5, 8. So why don't we focus on 1, 4, 6, 7? So position 1's right there. There it is. Position 4 is the king right there. Positions 6 and 7, let me move that out of the way, is right there. So look at what are in these positions. We have a black numbered card and then 3 red face cards. Okay, that was the designation of the cards at the bottom of our sheet. We have 1 black numbered card and 3 red face cards. Now what that would leave us then for quote zeros, which are in positions 2, 3, 5, 8, will be the other half of this prediction. Namely, we were looking at a red 6, a red 8, a red 3, so 3 red number cards, and then a black face card. Okay, so this is truly a Bessey sequence relative to those two sets of cards that we want to finish with at the very end. Well, since it's a Bessey sequence, what that means then is you can perform any of these shuffles that we have taught you so far in any order and in any quantity, and it will not undermine the fact that this is a Bessey sequence. Now, it may invert it, right? You remember what the inversion is. The inversion is where the zeros and ones switch places. So we may invert things. In fact, we can probably just remind you which one does that. If we actually perform these 4 shuffles exactly once, we will end up not inverting the packet, because look, shuffle 29 does not invert it. Shuffle 30 does invert it, so it's inverted. Come down here, shuffle 31 does not invert the current structure, but shuffle 32 inverts it a second time. So the inversion of the inversion, you're back to where you were. So if we perform each of these shuffles exactly once, we actually return this back to its original organizational structure. Now, that's not really important to keep track of. I guess I should make that clear, because I don't want to overwhelm you, because the way that our prediction is written, we're not stating who receives each pile of 4 cards. We're just saying one player receives these 4 and the other player receives those 4. Okay, so that does simplify things for you if you're not wanting to keep track of whether inversion has or hasn't occurred. Okay, so that I did that just to keep the performance as simple as possible. But if you want to go a little deeper, knowing whether the packet is inverted from where it started is important. Now, I do want to point out, however, that you can always peek the bottom card. So if after all the shuffling has been done that the spectator calls for, and you just surreptitiously glance the identity of the bottom card, you could deduce whether or not inversion has or has not occurred. Okay? But since we're not worried about inversion occurring, since it has no effect on our prediction, we won't worry about that right now. Okay, now the point I wanted to now make is, now that we've mixed it, we've performed those 4 shuffles, the way that we go back from the Bessey structure back to this organization is you just perform the triangle deal again. So that is something taught in the videos on this playlist that are devoted to Bessey sequences. So if you do the triangle deal again, you will essentially separate the cards so that the top half and the bottom half correspond to these separate outcomes written on our prediction page here. Okay? So, and I believe that's what I did. I said, okay, well, why don't we just further, we'll just kind of further scramble the cards one more time. So I did the triangle deal. And then if you stack in opposite order, what that means is it's back to this kind of arrangement, where the top 4 are of one kind and the bottom 4 are of the other kind. And we'll see that in just a second. Okay? Now that's just one way to kind of separate the cards into 2 groups of 4. And if you're willing to add 1 or 2 more elements to the mixing of the cards, we could eventually end up with an alternating packet that could be dealt out first to you, then me, you, me, back and forth, and still end up giving you a special set of 4 cards, and I receive the other special set of 4 cards. Okay, so anyway, this is just one way to perform all of this. And so let's go ahead and just check. So what we would normally do after this point, we'd say, oh yeah, I have a written prediction here. Let's see, what does that say? Let's see, it says one player will have one black face card and 3 red number cards, while the other player will have one black numbered card and 3 red face cards. Is that true? Let's just check this. Okay, let's just see if this is true. Oh wow, check that out. Does that match here? So I have one black number card, that's true, and 3 red face cards. How in the world did we do that? And so what does that leave here for me? Well, it better be the case that I received one black face card and 3 number cards. There's a red number card. There's a black face card. There's a second red number card and a third red number card. Indeed, our prediction perfectly anticipated the ending for this randomization of these 8 cards and then just a dividing of the packet of 8 into 2 halves. How did we do that? Well, you know how we did it now that I've shown you what's going on, of course, right? Okay, so that's just a kind of simple application using Bessey Sequences and Bessey Shuffles, and in particular, these new shuffles that we're showing you today, shuffles 29, 30, 31, and 32. So thank you for watching, and take a look at some of the other videos on the Hidden Structures channel, as well as the next video in this particular series.